Hey guys, welcome back for my Fall Front Porch Makeover. I am so excited to finish up my fall decorating for 2023. Outside in front of my home, decorating my front step and my little front porch area. As you can see, it needs some help. We've had some extreme weather lately and almost all of my plants have died and it just needs a big refresh out here. So we're going to do a little outdoor cleaning, landscaping, and bring in some new decor for fall. But first I need to just start by taking up everything that was already out here and removing all of these poor little plants that just did not make it through the heat wave that we had. It was intense. I know we're not the only ones that were experiencing it either, but no amount of watering was saving these babies from sunburn, and we just lost 3/4 of our plants. I am picking out everything that there's just no hope for reviving it, but we did have some basil and some rosemary that made it through, and I'm going to repot those later on. But anyway, once I had that all done, we're going to pull out my power washer. Would this really be a front porch video without me power washing something? I look forward to using this all the time, every time I'm working outdoors. It's just so satisfying and also a fun outdoor chore, and today it was very necessary, especially on my front steps, not just because it's a high traffic area that collects a lot of dirt and debris, but also because I had spilled some paint on the front steps not too long ago. I was working on a DIY accent wall in my kitchen, and this is where I put all of my supplies to either let them dry out or until I can get to cleaning them, and I had accidentally spilled some paint out here, but it was no problem. My power washer gets everything up for me. I love this thing so much. About 4 or 5 years ago, I had bought that $100 one off of Amazon. You know, it's like neon green and black. I feel like everybody has it, but it did not work for me. It broke the second time that I used it. And of course, that was outside of the return window, so I just wasted $100. This one is a little bit more of an investment, but absolutely worth it in my opinion. It has paid for itself over and over and over again. One of my best grown-up purchases ever. And isn't that so crazy? When we're kids, we don't even know what it is that we're going to be spending our money on, but like, how weird is that as adults? It's like power washers and vacuums that we get excited over. But anyway, I just wanted to say that if you're in the market for a power washer, ours is incredible, and I'll leave it linked down in the description box in case you want to check it out. But anyway, this is our front step, all of the siding, the sidewalk washed off, and it was soaking wet. So I wanted to leave it to dry for a little bit and head to Lowe's to see what kind of fall plants they had in stock. My local stores have been stocking very late in the season compared to normal, but they did have this huge display of these fall-like greenery plants. I don't even know what they're called, but I did use them in my fall front porch last year. So if you're thinking about using them, I'll link that video if you want to see what I did with them. They come in a variety of colors and they're very low maintenance, easy to take care of. But since I did that last year, I wanted to try out something different this year. So I actually found these huge mum bushes with these beautiful greenery pieces coming out of them, and they had a potted version for $30 and then a drop-in version for $20, and then they had so many mums. These were 2 for $12 and they were substantial. They had like a lot of blooms on them. They were pretty bushy and they had a ton of colors. I always love the purple, but this year they also have this more red toned purple that is so pretty. They also had these massive bushes of wildflowers. I've never seen these before, and they were only $24, so that's a steal. And then an entire display of pumpkins that were very realistic looking, very pretty, and came in a variety of colors. I really loved this like burnt orange rusty color, but it was $40 for this one pumpkin. And then when I was looking at the tag, I noticed that it said indoor and covered outdoor, and we don't have a covered outdoor space. Ours are pretty open to the elements. So instead I headed over to TJ Maxx to see what kind of outdoor pumpkins they had to offer, and they had multiple displays of these, so I think I just came on the right day. They had a ton of pumpkin stacks. I thought that this one with the 3 different colors was so pretty. That muted green is absolutely gorgeous. It just didn't quite fit into the vision that I had, but everything did say indoor and outdoor safe, so I knew that I could use them in my front porch. I did end up getting this orange 3-stack pumpkin, spoiler alert, but they had it in a white and a tricolor as well. And then they had tons of single pumpkins. These medium-sized white ones were only $13, and for an outdoor lawn ornament, that is such a good price. These larger orange ones were $15, I believe, but their stems looked incredibly realistic, like you had just picked them off of the vine. And then they had a ton of smaller ones in all kinds of shapes and colors and price points. This one was $10, but they had a ton that were $7 and a ton that were $6 as well. It just depended on how big they were. But from across the store, I saw this 4-stack of the most gorgeous pumpkins, and unfortunately they did have some damage, but all of the damage was on one side, so I figured I could just turn it around and you would never even know. And pro tip, if you shop at HomeGoods and TJ Maxx and Marshalls a lot, if you find something that's damaged, but damaged in a way you can live with it, take it up to the front, ask the cashier to discount it, and they almost always will. So anyway, we loaded up our car with all of our plants, all of our pumpkins. My husband was laughing at me because we were just overflowing with our fall front porch decor, and we're going to take it home, get it all out of our car, and lay it out on the lawn so that I can choose from it and get everything set up. Of course, I'm going to start at my front step area right next to my front door. I feel like this is the place that I have the most fun decorating, and it also sets the tone for the rest of what I'll do. But I just started by putting one of these really large mum bushes with those greenery pieces. I don't know if they're reeds or what exactly they are, but they're very pretty and very tall, and it was perfect in this taller planter that I have right next to our front door. I found that at HomeGoods in the spring, and then I started playing around with pumpkin stacks in front of it, and I just kept taking them away because I felt like they were blocking too much of the planter. Although looking at it now, they would have been really, really pretty. It wasn't blocking too much at all, but I also thought that they would impede on the functionality of this space and that one of my kids would end up knocking it over and breaking it. So to avoid that, I just settled on using these 2 smaller pumpkins and resetting our doormats. I have this scatter rug from HomeGoods and this doormat from Target, and this was perfect. I felt like it was the perfect touches of fall. It looked really pretty, but then it left an empty space sticking out on the other side. So I started playing around with the pumpkin stacks over there, brought in a lantern that we already have and use for many seasons, and then some mum bushes. I tried the smaller one and that was just too small, so I set this larger yellow one here. I actually got this on clearance just because it had a few dead blooms that you could just deadhead and then it looks good as new. But this is definitely a tip if you're wanting to get some plants or decorate outside, do any kind of lawn care or landscaping. Always look at the clearance carts at Lowe's and Home Depot. They mark things down all the time just because they have some dying blooms. So I got this for $8 and it was so easy to remedy. But this is how the front step turned out. I thought that it was absolutely perfect, and I can't wait until those other mums start blooming and really make it feel like fall. But the last thing that I needed to do was just change out my door wreath. I found this one on clearance for the spring and summer, but I'm going to reset my fall magnolia wreath. I've had this for a few years and I love it. It's just absolutely perfect. And then I'm going to clean off our glass storm door using my favorite spray away glass cleaner and a microfiber towel and get that all shined up so that this can look as pretty as possible. Here's how our front step turned out, and it is a more minimal, subtle fall look, but I have been loving that for this year, and I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. So now we're going to move on to our little seating area, and we have this little table in between that I'm going to add one of these reddish purple mums to, and then also a small little pumpkin, keeping with that minimal theme, but these were just the perfect fall touches, and I feel like it keeps your eye moving from this front step on through that front porch setup. And then we have this little end cap on the other side, and I have a few planters here and then also a shepherd's hook. And so I popped in a couple of those plants and then got these really large bushy mum hanging plants. They haven't started blooming yet, but I know they're going to be gorgeous when they do. And they have a combination of yellow and that red toned purple, so it'll bring all of the other mum plants together and just kind of round it out really nicely. But I noticed that my plants were falling into my pots instead of sitting up in them, and that's just because the pots were just slightly too big. So I went ahead and took those out. I'm going to add in this pumpkin stack here because I felt like there's an empty space, and then in those pots I'm going to put some old paint cans just to elevate those plants a little bit and get them lifted up so that they can really flourish and they're not just going to waste away on the inside of the pot. And this did the trick perfectly. They look so beautiful in there. They fill it out nicely, and I love the way that this whole display turned out. I feel like it keeps your eye moving, it all works together, and it is just perfectly fall. But then on the other side of our house, our hedges were needing some attention. They were just overgrown, a little out of control, and we needed to trim them and get them manicured so that they fit with the rest of this display. So my husband very kindly got out our hedge trimmers, and he is going to get to work reshaping these and making sure that they are looking pretty. And I am so thankful that he is willing to do this and that I don't have to. First of all, I can't stand these bushes. They attract wasps and bees, and I don't want to get stung, and they're just very scratchy and pokey, and I don't prefer to have anything to do with them. I honestly wish that they weren't here. I don't think that they serve any kind of purpose. They just kind of attract bugs to right next to all of the windows on our house. In a perfect world, I would have a full front porch that goes across the entire front of our house and then some flower beds in front of that. But this is what we have, so this is what we work with, and I'm just so thankful that Derek is always willing to take care of them and all of the things that I don't prefer to take care of. He does all of our landscaping with me, and he cuts the grass and does all of the trimming and the hedging. And then at Halloween and Christmas time, he puts up all of our outdoor lights, which is so nice because I am terrified of heights. I don't think you could pay me enough money to get up on the roof and put lights up there. Absolutely not. I would just freeze up and be one of those people that like needs the fire department to come out and get you down because you're too afraid to walk down the ladder. So I'm just really thankful that he is willing to do all of those things because it helps out a ton, and it also keeps our house looking so pretty. We love to go all out for the holiday seasons. If you've watched my channel for a while, then you know that our Halloween and Christmas displays just get bigger and bigger every single year. And if you've been following me on Instagram, then you know we've been collecting quite a few outdoor light kind of fixtures for Halloween already. We are wanting to extend our kind of cemetery display that we had last year that was pretty much confined to that front flower bed / front porch area, and we want to extend it out. We got some 12-foot skeletons. We just picked up a huge spider at Target yesterday, and we've just been slowly collecting some more things to make a really large and in charge type of Halloween display this year. So if you're not already, make sure that you are subscribed because you won't want to miss that. We're going to start filming it at the end of this month and hoping to be able to share it like the first week of October, in plenty of time for anyone who wants to recreate it or get out to the stores and pick up some of the pieces that we're using because it is going to be so fun. And then already I noticed when we were looking at the Halloween stuff at Target, there also starting to bring out some outdoor Christmas lights and Christmas greenery and wreaths, and that just makes me so excited for the end of the year. We have so much fun holiday content coming up. But anyway, while my husband was cleaning up all of those hedge trimmings, I noticed that our bird bath here was pretty dirty and it was needing some attention. So I just grabbed our watering can and I'm going to scrub it out with an old dish sponge and get it all cleaned and then refilled for the birdies and the squirrels. I'm going to pop a little pumpkin right next to it just for a small festive touch, and that's going to be all of the decorating. Then I'll show you how everything turned out. It always amazes me how things like trimming hedges, pulling weeds, and doing a little bit of landscaping can have such a high impact on the curb appeal of your home. And then when you add in plants and seasonal decor, it really just brings it all together. But this is how our fall front step and front porch are looking this year. I did keep it way more minimal than I have in years past, but I love it so much. I think it was the perfect touches of fall and will be a great transition for us from the summer into the fall season. I love doing this in my real life for ourselves, for our neighbors, and this is some of my favorite content to share with you as well. So I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you all in the next one.